Hello, and thank you for downloading episode 70 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Before the episode begins, you know that we often have guests on our show who are experts in specific fields that we're covering on that show. And since this show is all about best pasta, we thought we would go to none other than Mark Gagliardi's older brother, Gabe Gagliardi, who is a renowned chef and owns the Boar's Nest Barbecue in Seattle, Washington. So right now we're going to go live to our expert correspondent, Gabe Gagliardi, to get the pulse of the chef on the street.
Okay, Mark and Hal. So your question today is best pasta. I had to sleep on this one. Mark sent me a message yesterday asking what I thought. When it comes to pasta, and I'm sure you'll go through this in your episode, the ingredients, some with egg, some without, what that means to how the pasta sticks to sauce or vice versa. Talked with a few buddies about this, what they thought in the culinary industry, and we were all in agreement on what the best pasta was. We went through them all, or not all, there's hundreds, but we went through the spaghettis, the noodles, the rotinis, the cannellonis, the lasagnas, what have you, each having their own good and not so good qualities, how they can hold sauce, how they're hearty. But what we ended up with, and what I was pretty much set on before I started analyzing myself, was what's one pasta that has flavor. It has flavor on the outside in the form of sauce, and it has flavor on the inside with regard to a filling, whether that filling be lobster, roasted butternut squash, meat, cheese, vegetables, what have you. No other pasta is more versatile, no other pasta is more flavorful than the good old ravioli. So that's my thoughts. I hope you guys make the right decision. I hope at least ravioli's in the final three. But, thanks for letting me be a part of the great debate. Have a great day, gentlemen.
Thank you, Gabe. We really appreciate it. And we also appreciate everybody who listens to and shares this show with their friends and family. If you want to do that, just use the link bit.ly/sharewgt. That's it. It's easy. Do it on the mobile phone. Do it on the desktop. They're going to get to our show either way, and we really appreciate it. And now, without any further ado, here's episode 70 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best pasta.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it.
You know what?
You're right. We got this.
Buongiorno, Hal.
Hello, Mark. I'm not going to do that accent because it's offensive when I do it.
Yep, you're Jewish. You don't get to do an Italian accent. Though Jews and Italians are basically the same people. And I am very maternal. What's the word? Matriarchy based, even though they pretend to be patriarchies.
Sure.
And a lot of good food.
Yep. And guilt. I'm not doing the accent, but I am sitting here holding a steaming pizza and making the okay sign with my other hand.
How dare you?
I'm the guy on the pizza box, everybody.
Oh my God.
Does he have a name?
Also, you're playing Super Mario Brothers while exclaiming how spicy that meatball is.
Of course. Wait, is there a name for the pizza guy on the box?
The guy on the pizza box?
Is his name like?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called, Olive Steppenfetchit is his name.
Oh, it's me, Olive. I want to give you pizza.
How
it's
dare
okay.
you?
This pizza's
How
just
dare
okay.
you? Hey, Hal, today. No, do that again. Sorry. Let me take this opportunity.
Hey, it's me, Olive. I'm gonna give you a pizza, but it's just okay. You think from the smile and the wink that this is a great pizza. You see the steam rising off it, but it's just okay. Which symbol? I'm a trickster. I'm Pizza Olive. Ooh.
Hal,
yes.
Do you play too much Nintendo that you think that every Italian begins their sentences with, it's a me?
It's possible, but
like they always have to tell you who they are at the beginning of the sentence.
Just look at any pizza. Look, it's polite to announce yourself.
Sure.
That's number
fair.
one. Number
you put
two,
your calling card on the tray.
Yeah. You look at that pizza box, and if you look at him and don't think he's saying, it's a me, the pizza guy on the box, then who are you? Reveal yourself.
That's fair.
You are the murderer.
Whoa, this took a turn.
It sure did.
And a leap.
But this is serious. We're talking pasta, Mark.
And also, you're just doing the voice that I did a stereotype voice for Enzo on Venture Brothers. But it's okay for me to do a stereotype voice because I'm Italian.
Yes. Oh, I love that character. The first time I got to see it.
And I love Manolo. Let's stop scratching each other's backs. Patting each other's backs?
I could use a good scratch. It's fine.
That's fair. Don't you have that scratching post that you just go and rub up against like a bear?
Yes, but it hurts my quads and hamstrings because I have to do a lot of squats up against it, so.
That's fair. Let's talk pasta, Hal. Today's episode is, what is the best pasta?
Yes, this was suggested by YDub38. That's WHYDUB38 on the Maximum Fun subreddit.
Thank you, YDub. This is going to be fun, because I am Italian and do I have to give my bona fides? I've worked in pasta restaurants. I've worked in a lot of places. I've cooked a lot of pasta. I grew up eating a lot of pasta. I know my way around pasta. I go to Italy in Midtown all the time. Is that a thing? Can I say that?
Sure.
Do we need to give our bona fides? Cause we do a lot of BSing on this show.
You're Italian and I'm overweight. We're good.
Perfect. All right there, Boyardee. What do you got for me?
Well, there are so many different kinds here. We spoke a little bit, before we started recording, just trying to figure out how to tackle this because I have a pasta shapes dictionary and it's got 53 different shapes of pasta, but really, there are only a few that are going to make it far. There are lots of exceptional pastas. There's really no wrong answer because all pasta is delicious if it's cooked well and it has the right accompaniment with it. You wanted to go stuffed and unstuffed. For me, it breaks down into strings, shapes, and tubes.
Okay.
In terms of the
either one of those work for me. I would like to go back a little bit to something you just said a minute ago.
Okay.
That there are no wrong answers. I would like to point out, in the cooking process, there are a couple of wrong answers. And I would like to dispel a few pasta myths right now.
Bust them.
One of them is that if you add oil to the water, the pasta won't stick together. That is not true because as everyone knows, oil and water do not mix. The oil will just float to the top and the pasta will stick together on the bottom of the pot. The main thing that you can do when cooking pasta in the first minute, as an Italian, I feel I have to tell the world this. In the first minute that the pasta goes in, that is when all of the starches on the outside of the pasta sort of ooze and seep into the water. That's when you need to stir the pasta because if you don't stir the pasta, then those starches will seep into the water and cling the pasta to itself. So in the first minute of boiling, keep stirring it, get those starches moving and you won't have a problem with sticking. This next one is also oil based. Once you take your pasta out, a lot of people say put a little bit of olive oil on it and stir it up to prevent sticking if you're not going to add the sauce right away. Couple of things to that. One, always add the sauce right away because you want it to cling to the pasta. And if you can't get the sauce to cling to the pasta, it's probably because you put oil on it after it was taken out to keep it from sticking, and sauce will not cling to pasta that's been oiled. The best thing that you can do to get sauce to cling to pasta is reserve a little bit of that starchy pasta water and pour it over the pasta and stir it up and then put your sauce on. So that's just a couple of little pasta cooking tips from your old pal, Uncle Gags.
Uncle Gags' Pasta Corner. Yeah.
And later in this episode, I will give you my my dad's gravy recipe if I haven't already done it on this show. Have I given my dad's gravy recipe on this show?
No, but that's how I know that your dad is from Philly, because that's what we call it there.
Yeah, marinara, pasta sauce, red sauce in Philadelphia is called gravy.
Right. Go ahead.
Sure, I'll give it now. While I'm on my culinary throwing ideas out there. Here's how I do it. This is a little bit me, a little bit my dad, and a little bit Clemenza from The Godfather.
Okay.
I will chop up a little pancetta or a piece of bacon if I don't have pancetta, which is similar to bacon. And, I will cook that in the bottom of the pan to start it off, just to get a little bit of grease in there. Then into that grease, I will throw an onion chopped up until it's all sweated through and a little bit starting to brown. Then I will toss in some chopped garlic, because garlic takes a lot less time to cook than onions do. So by the time the garlic is starting to get a good brown on it, the onions are also starting to get a good brown on them. Then I will this is how my father does it. And I love this. I will take cans of whole peeled Cento tomatoes, which are the big yellow jar in the grocery store. Whole peeled tomatoes. I will pour the jar over my hand. Wash your hands before you do this, into the pot. And as you catch the tomatoes, squeeze them so that they mash up and go into the pot. A couple cans of those, like a tube or a can of tomato paste. And now you've got your base. And that's what you salt, you spice, you add mushrooms, peppers, whatever you want from there. That is the base for a pasta sauce that I like to start with.
Well, that sounds great. Now we just got to figure out what to put it on.
So I'm sorry. I felt the need to do that. I felt it my civic duty to throw that little recipe out there.
Well, you have acquitted yourself quite nicely. So let's get onto this.
Yes. You're like, thank you for talking. Please be done.
Thank you for talking. Well, no, you know what? You should post your recipe online.
I don't go online.
Fair enough. You should get a computer. They're fantastic.
Great.
There.
Right now, listeners, I have a string and a can that connect directly to Hal's place in Los Angeles.
Yep. That's how we're recording this.
Yeah. It's a big long string that goes across the country. We use the Transcontinental Railroad.
Do we?
Yeah.
Right now, your voice is traveling over that golden spike.
That's right. Transcontinental Railroad, the only reason there's a Kansas City.
Oh.
It's true. Let's look at pasta. All right.
Hard shade.
So you like, how did you want to break this down?
I think it's tubes, shapes, and strings. So strings would be like, spaghetti, linguine, capellini.
All right. So are we going to pick a winner out of each of these? I would like to separate, stuffed out of that though.
Okay.
I would like to separate stuffed, and I would like to make lasagna its own thing.
Okay. So we'll include, lasagna gets its own, category. And then we take like ravioli, cavatelli. What else is stuffed?
Manicotti.
Manicotti. Cavatelli. Is cavatelli stuffed?
Cavatelli is not stuffed.
No, cavatelli is like,
you're thinking of shells, which can be stuffed if they're large enough.
Okay.
And that would also include ravioli, manicotti, and, cannelloni, which is not on this list, but is one of my favorites as well.
Okay. I'm already lost. Let's start eliminating some stuff. Make it easier.
Okay. Oh, and tortellini.
Tortellini
is another stuffed one.
Yes. I have to look at pictures of all these. All I know is it tastes good, and I like to have it in my mouth and then subsequently my belly. But,
I do like that you were like, as a non-Italian, you're like, all right, here's how we're going to break this down. Strings. No, I didn't mean to make that voice to be yours.
No, it's true.
So let's start with the string spaghettis, as you call them. These are the long pastas.
Okay.
That are not fillable and are not any shape other than long and flat.
Sure. So you've got like your basic spaghetti, and then you've got the flatter, wider versions, and you've got the thinner versions of that.
Yes. So the thin round ones would be vermicelli, angel hair, and spaghetti, which are really just small, medium, and large versions of the same pasta.
Right.
Spaghetti being the largest, angel hair being the small, or angel hair being the medium, and vermicelli, I think, being the smallest.
Okay.
But they're all basically the same thing. Then you've got the larger, flatter ones, which are linguine, pappardelle, and fettuccine. And there's a million others, but we're going with the big ones that you find on restaurant menus a lot.
Okay. Now, do you have, like, I have criteria personally that of what I like in a pasta.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm at the grocery, if I was making pasta, there are certain things I'd look at to see, to make my choice. If it's
okay. What do you look for?
I look at how easy is it going to be to eat. In terms of, like, is it easy to maneuver a bite? I don't want to have to fight with my food, Mark.
Sure.
Then the other is how much sauce can it take? Like, is it, like, I like, personally, I have, a bias towards, like, rotel, like wheel-shaped pastas and tubes, because the sauce actually goes inside. So you can get a little bit of sauce within it, and you can eat it with a spoon. So those are the two main ones for me. Those are my two main criterias. Does it hold a lot of sauce, and is it easy to eat? What about you?
Easy to eat is less important for me because, I figure I can work my way around a plate. I can get there. I'll do what needs to get done. There's a certain fun to spaghetti if you know how to do it with the spoon and the twirl.
Right.
Hold the spoon in your left hand, put a little bit of spaghetti on your fork, touch the fork to the middle of the spoon, and then twirl it, and the spaghetti will loop around your fork beautifully.
Sometimes. Not all. Don't perpetuate a myth that works all the time, because that's my method. Like, a lot of people go, why are they bringing this spoon with spaghetti? And that's what it's for. But I'll do the spin, and then I'll spin, I'll be like, I have the perfect bite. And as I'm lifting, it's just sliding and running away.
Well, that's because you've got to tilt the fork to horizontal. Once you're done with the spin, the fork has to tilt horizontal. If you spin it and then lift it up at a 45, the pasta is going to go everywhere, Hal.
Oh, no. I hold it horizontal. I know it doesn't slide off.
Do you, Hal? Do you?
Mark, you've known me for many years. One thing I do not have a problem with is getting food from a plate into my mouth.
All right. I trust you on that. So you know what? I'm with you though. I like tubes. I'm a big, pasta tube fan.
Right.
But out of these, honestly, string spaghetti, kind of like spaghetti, linguine, fettuccine, these all kind of bore me.
Oh, do they?
As pasta goes.
Bored. Oh.
No. I don't mean to sound, I'm with you on this. I don't mean to sound like a snob. These are excellent pastas, but it's like spaghetti. It's like, all right, I understand spaghetti. Everybody has spaghetti. Everybody likes spaghetti. The one that stands out in this for me is pappardelle.
Okay. Yep.
This is big, flat noodles. And frequently when you get them in a restaurant, they are homemade. That's one thing I love about pappardelle.
Right.
Is most restaurants will make these from scratch. And it's starchy and it's thick and it holds sauce. These are the criteria that you like. It holds sauce beautifully. So if any pasta is going to escape the stringy pasta realm, I don't mean to sound like a jerk. And you made me feel like I did sound like one. But yeah, like long skinny pasta is kind of boring to me.
Okay. Let me just say that just the idea of spaghetti bores. You sound like a Roman emperor. There's no way to say that where you don't sound
like an asshole.
Yeah. Oh, what are you having for breakfast? Is it some Cheerios? How droll. Very
Hey man,
bored.
I love Cheerios.
I don't need to be challenged by food.
Oh, I do.
I don't need to be, I don't need it. That being said, that's what I don't like about spaghetti in general. And I like pappardelle, for that specific reason that you mentioned. It takes a lot of sauce. You can twirl an individual noodle and get a good purchase on it, or you could actually dice it up with your fork and scoop it up. Like you have some options there. It can
Sure.
be stabbed by a fork. I think it's one of the few pastas that doesn't work as well al dente. Am I remembering that right? That it's actually more enjoyable when it's a little bit softer?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So
I like it. I like it al dente, but I can see how it's forgiving. If you do it a little softer, it's still great.
Yeah. I mean, there is something to say for versatility. I guess a pappardelle would work with like a cream-based sauce or an oil-based sauce, where it's just like some oil and maybe some fresh tomato and garlic. But to me, like, when I think of like fettuccine, there's an Alfredo that it works with meat sauce, linguine also. Linguine to me always seems like the pasta you have when you're ordering clams.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what
it's great seafood pasta.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's a big seafood guy. So even in an Italian place, he'll get seafood and it'll come with linguine. There will always always when Bill Loveland eats, some food winds up on his shirt. There's no way around it.
Why doesn't he just travel with a lobster bib?
It wouldn't matter. If he ate from behind a blast shield and used robot arms to feed the food through like a tube that went straight into his mouth, he would wind up with a spot of food on his shirt.
Somehow.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's the Bill Loveland promise, is a little bit of food will get on his shirt.
Can I sidebar us for a second here?
No, never.
All right.
Please.
Oh, great. Then I'm going to keep exactly in line with what we were not talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is spelled, this pasta that we both have determined that we love is spelled Pappardelle.
Uh-huh.
You referred to it as pappardelle. I referred to it as pappardelli. I don't know what's correct. I assume pappardelle is right. But it led me to this thought. You're an East Coast guy.
Yep.
Do you call it mozzarella or mozzarella?
I call it mozzarella, but I know it's called mozzarella.
Or capicola becomes gabagool.
Yeah.
All of these, I don't know if these are Italian pronunciations or if these are just what the East Coast has decided are Italian pronunciations.
I think there's a higher concentration of Italian immigrants there. So the actual pronunciations made it like they live there. But to me, it feels like, I feel like it's cool if you're a Hispanic, reporter and you're reporting on somebody whose name is like, Jose Fuentes.
Ramon.
Yeah. You're like, today, the highlight of today's meeting was when, Jose Fuentes, like they can use that pronunciation. But if I go to an Italian place and say, let me get the mozzarella, like it just feels, that's when I feel like I'm almost being mocking, but maybe that's internally. I try sometimes. Like I try to pronounce it the way I think it's supposed to be pronounced.
Yeah.
Like,
I think a lot of times there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
Like my dad calls it anapas. And I'm like, that's not even finishing the word. But you also don't want to go in and be like, I'll have the antipasta. You know what I mean? Like antipasta seems like that's it. I feel like there's a reasonable slight anglicization of it or anglicizing. Yeah. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, that was just a sidebar on Italian, speak.
Well, I think the correct way to say any Italian food is to pronounce it the way James Gandolfini would when he's playing Tony Soprano.
You know what? I think you are 100% right, my friend.
We gotta get a gabagool. We gotta get the prosciutto.
But didn't he refer to Baja Fresh as Baja Fresh?
Yeah, that's what you should call it.
Yeah.
We gotta go to Baja Fresh. We'll go get some of those burritos. I know I don't sound like that. It's fine.
Apologies to our friend Jackson Public for borrowing that because he's the one that made me aware of it and it made me laugh. So let's move. So would you be comfortable in saying that? I mean, it's tough to eliminate spaghetti.
It is. Spaghetti is that's the gold standard. Everybody knows spaghetti. If you know.
All right. So spaghetti gets a bye.
Spaghetti does get a bye to the finals.
Right. So let me add, of this, let's say that linguine's great, fettuccine's great, but I have to go with personal taste and say pappardelle or pappardelli. Pappardelle. It's an E at the end.
Pappardelle. That's what it's called.
Would that be fair to you?
Yes. I love pappardelle. I would take that as well. And it's one that I don't think about as much because it's not in every restaurant, but there's certain dishes where when you see it on the menu, you go, oh, this place is good. And that is one of them. That's where you know, like, oh,
that's when you're like, oh, there is an Italian that owns this and is in the kitchen right now yelling at someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's move on to shapes.
All right. Alphabet shapes.
There's a million of the, dear God. There's a million shaped pastas, but let's pull some of the classics out. We're not including tubes right now. Tubes is getting its own category.
Yes.
I will tell you some of my favorites just looking at this list. And I will tell you what it does not include.
Go ahead.
Which is alphabet.
Oh, the alphabet. Bye, alphabet.
Shells I love. Now you can get giant shells, which are stuffable. We'll talk about those in a minute, but small shells, great. They hold a lot of sauce. Elbow macaroni. We're talking pasta, which does include macaroni and cheese.
But wouldn't macaroni be a tube?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Macaroni's a tube.
I like
very wrong.
Capitelli or Campanelle, those bell-shaped pastas, like the cone.
I never order those. I don't know that I've ever ordered them, but I do like them. You're right, though.
Sauce. They're like having a mini.
Right.
It's like a mini ice cream cone full of spaghetti sauce every bite.
Farfalla, which are the bow ties.
Oh, they're so great. See, a Jewish tradition would be kasha and bow ties. So the bow tie is very prominent in Jewish cooking as well.
Because of all the Jewish entertainers in the Catskills?
Yep. That's why they'd wear them. I'm kasha and this is bow ties.
I always think of bow tie pasta as being like a primavera. I always would assume that like that's sort of a spring dish with the peas and carrots and sort of a white sauce. I never think of bow tie pasta being with a red sauce. I know a lot of people do. For some reason in my brain it's not.
Okay. What about farfaline?
Which are just tiny farfalle.
Yeah, but they're so
little
cute.
Bow ties.
Look at those little bow ties.
They are adorable.
Doesn't that sound like a comic strip? Little bow ties. When you're hanging out. This is my tight five on bow tie pasta.
Tiny gentlemen.
Yeah. I'm going to do this at Catch a Rising Star next weekend. Catch my entire little bow ties bit. It's great.
Some honorable mentions, I think. Orecchiette, little ears. They just look like little curved discs. Orzo, which are pasta that looks like rice.
Get that out of here.
You don't like that stuff?
No.
Of the pasta shapes, I would say that my favorite though is rotini.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Rotini are the little spirals, and much like tube pasta, they hold a lot of sauce. That really is like, for you and me both, that is our main criteria, is what holds the most stuff.
Yes. I do love rotini. You nailed it. But
little corkscrews.
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
A radiatori is good too. They're like sort of a cut open spiral. They almost look like somebody took a screw head and cut it in half, and they're kind of hollowed out, which is good. Then there's also, but for me, this might be crazy, but I love rotel. They just look like little wagon wheels, and they hold sauce in all the little gaps, and they're just they're delicious. I know that this may be heresy for Italian food, but I love the fact that I can eat that pasta with a spoon, which I can with rotini as well. But there's something about rotel. My mother, that was one that she got a lot. And I just, for some reason, she would make like a turkey meat sauce because we didn't have a ton of red meat when I was growing up. And it was great. It would hold the chunks. It would hold like the bits of turkey. It would hold bits of pepper or onion, whatever else was in the sauce. They would hold really nicely. And they just had a great texture to them. So I really like rotel.
I mean no disrespect.
Oh, we're getting so Italian right now.
To your wonderful late mother. She was a wonderful woman.
Sure.
And you are a wonderful guy.
Thank you.
Rotel are not remotely Italian pasta.
They're not? They have an Italian name though.
They're not. They're as Italian as Chef Boyardee.
Is he not Italian? I thought his name was Boyardi.
It is. No. Hector Boyardi was Italian. Boiardi.
Yeah.
Ettore Boiardi. He was Italian. Chef Boyardee, Boyar-DEE, was not. And I fear that Rotel is less Boyardi and more Boyardee.
Oh, man.
I understand enjoying the shape, though, for its function.
Yeah.
However, I would like to point out its lack of Italianness.
All right. I've only ever gotten it in a box next to like rotini. I've never had it in like a SpaghettiOs. So I just want to make that point. I will yield to you as the Italian.
But that said, I do find them delicious.
Yeah.
I find Fritos delicious, but I don't call them Mexican food. Like I said, I'm a couple beers in on this episode, Hal.
Mark, you're a couple beers in on life. So
amen, my brother.
Let's pull rotini out of the shapes. That'll be the one that we take. Because I don't think there's anything. I mean, there are tons of variations on a theme.
We're both happy with rotini.
Yeah, look, it's a really versatile. It's probably one of the more versatile pastas in that it works in traditional pasta dishes. If you're making a pasta salad, you're most likely going to use rotini for that as well, because of its amazing ability to hold whatever the other ingredients are in. So you get a ton of flavor in every bite that you take.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Shall we move on to tubes?
Let's do it.
All right.
Well, you know what? Hold on.
What? But I've got all of these tube ideas.
Well, I've got all of these ideas of other shows on the Max Fun Network that our listeners should be listening to. So I want to take a brief break so that they can hear about them. Are you cool with that?
Oh, that's better. Let's do that.
Ty is a pedantic person. I think when he pronounces these words, it's in a very show-offy way. Gyro.
Gyro.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu.
Ayers Rock.
Uluru.
What you are witnessing is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with real cases. They call in via Skype to Judge John Hodgman's court, the real People's Court. Now I call you to Judge John Hodgman's internet court. Find it at MaximumFun.org or wherever you download podcasts.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Van Ness, and I'm the host of Getting Curious. Let me ask you a question. What do you know nothing about, but you just can't stand to find anything about it because it's just too stiff? I know for me, there was too many things to even count. So I decided I needed to start a podcast where I could find things out and make them more easily digestible to not only myself, but to you. You can find Getting Curious on iTunes or on MaximumFun.org.
I'm glad we did it.
I am too. Now I'm hungry.
Hungry for some tubes?
So let's talk tubes.
Let's talk tubes, Mark. I want to yell about it.
Here are the major tubes. Penne.
Okay.
A classic beveled tube.
Yep.
Penne rigate, which is penne but ridged.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the two of those, penne rigate is going to come out better than penne.
Anything with ridges is better. Yeah, penne suffers from the same problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So penne rigate, you're going to come out of that already on top. Rigatoni, which are, not beveled ends. They are ridged and they're also a lot bigger.
Yes.
And ziti, which are medium shaped, but also do not have ridges. Now, I love a baked ziti.
Sure.
But, the rigatoni has ridges.
It does,
as they said in those famous commercials.
And let's also not forget that you can load up rigatoni. You can fill it. I mean, it works as a stuffed pasta, but also if you're having like when I was eating meat, I was way into meat sauce, like way into it.
Oh yeah.
And rigatoni was, if they had rigatoni, that was what I got every single time, because you could put a ton
Big
of
tubes.
meat sauce in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They fill right up. Elbow macaroni, another one that I erroneously used in the shapes category.
Yes.
And was chided by Hal.
I gotta represent the tubes.
And, bucatini, which are like thick spaghetti with a hole in the middle. As much as I love Dan Bucatino, that one is not going to win.
No.
Sorry, bucatini.
No.
So let's talk tube pasta. There's also mostaccioli. I forgot mostaccioli, which is another type of penne. It's just a lot thinner.
Okay. But it's a penne. Anything that's penne based is not making it through.
Well, I don't know. Penne rigate, we already said. Though does rigatoni beat penne rigate just because it's bigger?
Yeah, it does.
All
In
right.
fact, if you were going to eat some penne rigate, the best way to do it would be with rigatoni because you could fit a bunch of them in there to get a big bite.
Oh, that's good. Like, make like a pasta turducken.
Yes. Oh,
Like,
have we talked about the tripumple?
Oh, yes, we've talked about, I introduced you to the tripumple, didn't I?
No, my father did. He showed me a video of it. I've never eaten one.
I got obsessed with the chirpumple a couple of years ago and really, really wanted to make it because I saw online,
Charles
chirpumple,
Phoenix?
the turducken of desserts. And I went, I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, in case
Will you tell the people who don't know what a chirpumple is?
Yeah, sure. If you haven't seen the Charles Phoenix, I think is the most famous version I've seen of it online. The chirpumple is a cherry pie, an apple pie, and a pumpkin pie, each baked into a layer of cake and then put on top of one another with frosting. So if you get a slice, you are not only getting cake, you are not only getting crazy frosting, but you are getting a bite of apple pie, cherry pie, and pumpkin pie every single
A bite, you're getting a whole slice.
Yeah. Oh, and it has its own gravitational field. That's how dense it is.
This thing is about, a true chirpumple is about 2 feet tall, would you say?
Yes.
They're very large.
They're huge. They're heavy. Like I've never tried one. The idea of it is intriguing though, because it's just from a feat of engineering perspective. It's massive. But that's the chirpumple.
So that's what we're having for dessert. But Hal, we got to finish our entree before we can have our dessert.
Oh, fine.
Okay. It sounds like rigatoni is going to leave the tube category number 1.
Although not so fast. What about macaroni? What about macaroni and cheese? What about baked macaroni? What about macaroni used for a pasta salad?
Macaroni is, that's what Yankee Doodle's feather was called.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe for geopolitical reasons, macaroni may make it out of the tube round instead of rigatoni.
Oh my God. But rigatoni, here's the thing. At what point in making a decision are we basing it off of, well, this is just the iconic one? Is the iconic thing always the best thing?
Well, look, the 2 iconic ones that we've already determined are macaroni and spaghetti, neither of which is our personal favorite, but we've got to give them credit.
Then I'd say we give macaroni a bye to the finals just because it's such a ubiquitous pasta. And
are you only saying it gets a bye to the finals so you can keep rigatoni?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fine.
Let's be honest.
By the way, you do know that most of what we do here is arbitrary.
That's what you say and what our listeners say. As far as I'm concerned, we are settling law. So let's talk about stuffed pastas.
All right. There's really only 3 major contenders here. 4 if you count big stuffed shells, but those are less traditional.
All right.
The 3 contenders being tortellini, manicotti, and ravioli. Okay. Or if you're from the East Coast, tortellini, manicotti, and ravioli.
I've never had manicotti. And that's
manicotti is delicious.
Yeah.
It is the enchilada of Italian pastas and is my frequent go-to in a restaurant.
Why
so
is that?
imagine it, because I'm a huge fan of stuffed pasta. If I'm ordering pasta in a restaurant, I will 9 times out of 10 get ravioli or manicotti. Unlike my father, who every Italian restaurant he goes to, he orders spaghetti and meatballs. So he has a baseline.
Sure.
His first trip to any new Italian restaurant, he always orders spaghetti and meatballs. Your father is maybe the one member of your immediate family I've never met. I'm for sure he is. I can't believe you've never met my dad. He's a crazy person.
I know. I have to meet him, but I agree with him. Like if my example is if I go to a bakery, I always get a chocolate chip cookie first because if they can't make that well, they can't make anything.
Exactly.
Well.
You want to have a good baseline thing.
Yeah. So I respect that.
But I am willing, and that for me is a personal preference, a personal taste thing.
Okay.
I know that popularity wise, and also I love them. I am more than happy in this regard to concede that ravioli are, if we're going stuffed pasta, that if it's between tortellini, which are barely filled, by the way.
Sure.
There's virtually no filling in a tortellini, just a skosh.
Yeah.
To use an old Italian word.
Of course. Which is from Scocciatelle Marondo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
Who discovered America.
Yes, that's right.
I would say, and would you agree, ravioli would make it through?
For sure. I'm not a huge ravioli fan, but the times I had a lobster ravioli a while back that was so good. And even just the sauce with it was so good. It made my eyes cross when I bit into it, which does not happen. I'm not like the guy who there are people who, when they eat stuff, they're like, oh my goodness, this piece of bread.
Sure. They go full Meg Ryan.
Yeah. Not every food is a televised event, people, but this ravioli was practically a religious experience. So I'm more than happy just because of how versatile it can be. You can stuff it with anything, works with a ton of different kinds of sauces and
can be served as an appetizer if you bread them and fry them.
Yeah. Or even just in a small amount. Like everybody gets one small lobster ravioli and that's what you eat.
Yeah.
Like I'm now all I can think of is lobster ravioli. So let me just
By the way, though, I'm sorry.
That I love lobster ravioli. Go ahead.
They're delicious. An order of ravioli in a restaurant is frequently not enough for me, which is less a comment on the restaurant. I'm not even going to finish this sentence. I'm just going to eat this ravioli that I have here waiting.
Is it lobster ravioli? I love lobster ravioli.
Apparently.
Are you?
And it's the only kind you like.
Are you drinking every time I say lobster ravioli? Because if so,
man.
You should be on full, I like cantaloupe mode.
Oh, man, I'm super mouthy this episode, too.
Is Derek there filming you? Are you doing a drunk history while you're doing a We Got This?
Yes, I'm doing a drunk history and a We Got This simulcast.
Okay, so then we're taking, ravioli. So what do we have right now?
Well, lasagna was its own category, which means it gets through to the finals.
Right.
So here's what we have right now. We have lasagna, macaroni, spaghetti, ravioli, and rigatoni.
Okay.
Those are our 5 finalists. Now, here is how I propose we start eliminating these, because we've got to eliminate some of them.
Sure.
There was a game I used to play with some buddies. I don't know if you and I ever played. Did we ever play this 5 restaurants game?
No.
It's a great way to pick a restaurant if you've got a group of people and everybody's being indecisive. You name either 5 different restaurants or 5 different cuisines, and you take turns eliminating one of them until there's one left.
Okay.
Would that be a fair way, do you think?
Sure. So
to do this?
Spaghetti, rigatoni, ravioli, macaroni, lasagna, and rotini.
Oh, so we have 6. What did I miss before?
I think you might have missed rotini or lasagna, one of the other buys.
Wait, which one is rotini?
Rotini, those are the spirals.
Oh, yes, I did. I missed rotini.
So there you go. We've got 6. So now we're playing 6 restaurants. So we're going to go around and take turns eliminating them. Okay.
Take turns eliminating them.
Why don't you go first?
All right. This is not going to make me any friends in Italy. But I don't know many people in Italy anyway. If we're keeping things because of their societal impact and their popularity, I'm going to leave macaroni in the mix. I'm going to eliminate spaghetti.
Wow. Bold strokes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I'm going to eliminate lasagna because it is only ever lasagna, and lasagna is great. I love it. My darling wife, who is not Italian, makes the best lasagna in the world to me. I love it.
I have had her lasagna and it is wonderful.
There you go. So, and she is not in any way. I don't think there is a bit of Italian DNA, in her bloodstream at all. But, It is a great dish. It is not the best pasta. Because like lasagna as a noodle has to be combined with other things. It doesn't stand up on its own.
By the way, I had missed a few of them. We actually had 8.
What?
We had spaghetti, lasagna, pappardelle, ravioli, rotini, rigatoni, not 8, 7, and macaroni.
Okay. Well, now we're down to 5.
There are 5 left. Okay. I love that we're doing our best pasta episode, and the first 2 we eliminated were spaghetti and lasagna, because apparently we're jerks.
No, we're refined.
Yeah.
We're bored by them, Mark. You don't remember?
All right. Is it my turn to eliminate one?
Yes.
I am going to eliminate. I was going to eliminate rigatoni. For me, it's rigatoni or rotini to eliminate now.
Okay.
And I feel like, I am going to eliminate, because I know you love rigatoni, I will eliminate rotini. Both hold pasta sauce very well. But we have to get rid of some. And while rotini is great in a pasta salad, and in any other situation as well, I enjoy it. The others, if we're talking about holding on to sauce and really getting that sort of savory, hearty, Italian dinner experience, I'll eliminate rotini.
Okay. Well, since you eliminated one of the pastas that got a bye, I'm going to eliminate the other and say goodbye to macaroni.
All right.
I think it's look, we get it. It's everywhere. It's great. It's just not the best. It's just the most popular. There's a difference, people. You're going to learn over the next 3 or 4 minutes just how different that is. Goodbye, macaroni. Thank you for being a name of that feather.
All right. So we have 3 left.
Do we? Are you sure? Because you keep finding new ones.
Pappardelle, ravioli, and rigatoni are
You're
the
like
3
the
that are
woman
left.
in an airplane who keeps pulling eggs out of her mouth.
Which I'm pretty sure that Leslie Nielsen just kept putting the same egg in her mouth.
What?
Yeah.
Don't
Magic
ruin
trick,
that movie.
spoiler alert.
Don't ruin that movie.
It's coming down to personal taste here. I hate to do it, Hal. Taking rigatoni out of the mix.
Oh.
It's ravioli or pappardelle.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know.
I mean,
I have to do it though, because
okay.
I look at the 3 and again, it's just because the math turned out that it was my turn to go. And I look at those 3, pappardelle, the big flat starchy noodles usually made from scratch, ravioli, my personal all-time favorite, and rigatoni, which are great. My dad makes rigatoni. I love them, but I like a plate of pappardelle and a plate of raviolis. It gets me more excited than a plate of rigatoni.
You know what? I want to break precedent here.
Okay.
I'm going to make the final elimination, but I want you to do the people of the world. How do you feel about that?
Ooh. I've never done it before. Okay.
Well, here we go.
I'm happy to do it. Oh man. I'm so nervous now, Hal.
Well, you're about to feel a lot better because you're going to have your best pasta friend with you. As I say, so long, pappardelle. You've been eliminated. I'll eat you when I can have a lamb ragu, which is not going to be for a while. Bye-bye.
Well, I guess then the only thing left for me to say, Hal, is people of the world. I want you to take all of those other pastas, I don't know, am I doing this right? Am I doing okay?
Keep going, Mark. You're doing great.
Okay. I want you to take your alphabet shapes and your SpaghettiOs and yeah, your rigatonis. I know they're delicious, but there can be only one. And the one that's going to survive this battle, the one that's going to make it out to the other side, is that little pillow that's not stuffed with feathers. It's not stuffed with polyfill. You don't even lay your head on it. You put your mouth around it. And you know what's inside it when you do? Delicious fillings. Ricotta cheese. Spinach. Assorted meats. And yes, Hal, lobstrays, which I'm pretty sure is Italian for lobsters.
Sure.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to go all hating on the other pastas like Hal sometimes does on the losers. He hates on the losers. I'm going to say they're all great. I love them all. I'm going to love on the winner because it can be served with any type of sauce. It can be served fried, breaded, toasted, but most often boiled on a plate, covered in sauce, maybe a sprig of something on top. But it's not about what's on the outside. It's about what's on the inside that counts. And you know what's on the inside is delicious when you're sitting in front of a plate of raviolis. Asked and answered.
Well done.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Well done.
I realized I said raviolis. I think ravioli is the plural.
Not
like
anymore.
raviolo would. All right. Screw it. Raviolis.
Well, that topic has been settled, but our fight continues to solve
That's right.
all of your problems for you. So why don't you let us know what topics you argue about with your friends, and we'll take care of it. You can email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to facebook.com/wegotThisPodcast.
Or reach out to us on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets, or visit the Maximum Fun subreddit. There is probably a flame war happening right now.
Thank you, as always, to producer Ken Plume, our researcher Kate McManus, to graphic designer Uri Kelman, and, of course, to our QA engineer, Jen Alba.
And thank you, as always, to our wonderful musicians, Mike Furman and Jonathan Dinerstein, for our award-winning song and score, respectively.
And thanks to you, the listeners. We couldn't do it without you. You keep showing up and putting your ears around things and putting things in them so that our voices can come to you. We appreciate it. Keep sharing the love, keep sharing the arguments, and keep on listening.
Yes, we love you and thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin, and don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.